One of the best Disney World tips that you will ever receive for avoiding long lines is to arrive at the theme parks before they open for the day.
I'm Christina. I'm a traveler, a planner, and most importantly, a mom. I'm sharing my best tips to make traveling as a family a little less stressful. So put down your phone, pack your bags, and let's showcase the world.
My name's Christina, and I own Showcase the World Travel, a modern travel agency dedicated to helping families take a break from the busy and actually enjoy their vacations. And so we do plan a ton of Disney. And as someone who specializes in family vacations, I do get asked a lot, what's the number one piece of advice? And that was it. The intro was it, is get to the park before they open for the day. Why? Well, the first reason, it's hot and crowded. You know, a lot of people come back from Disney World and they say never again. Oh, how could you? Or when I say I'm going to Disney World, they're like, didn't you already go? And like, yeah, well, we love it. But their experience was hot and crowded. And the reason they had that experience is because they were visiting in the heat of the day, which is the afternoon. And the crowds built throughout the day as well. So the earlier you get there, the less hot it is and the less crowded it will be. We once visited the day after Christmas in the Magic Kingdom, and I had put together an itinerary beforehand. It was my first trip. I wasn't a travel agent when we booked the trip, but I actually announced that I was accepted to join an agency while I was on this trip. So I put together an itinerary, and my brother asked, "Why does 7 a.m. exist?" And despite that, we got him out of bed. We got him into the park. We had a wonderful morning. We did everything we wanted to do. We walked onto Haunted Mansion, and then we had a breakfast reservation, or it was a late breakfast reservation at Be Our Guest. It was the last one of the day, so it was like 11 a.m. The park opened at 7, so we got there at 6. So between 6, 7, and 11, we did most of the park, or the things that we wanted to do particularly. And as we were walking out of breakfast, the Haunted Mansion that we had just walked onto before we went to breakfast, an hour before, had a wait time of almost 2 hours. So in the hour we were eating, the wait time went from 13 minutes, which is basically a walk-on at Haunted Mansion, to 2 hours. And so that's basically what happens, even especially during the busiest week of the year. So Christmas week is, of course, the busiest week of the year. So it's important to know the strategies for staying ahead of those crowds. If you're not a morning person, you really need to think about when you're going to go. You should probably go during a slower time in September or May or the last week of January, because otherwise, the crowds are going to be there before you, and it's going to be hard to catch up. So let's talk a little bit about rope drop. Rope drop is what park opening is usually called, and it's because, cast members, or what Disney calls employees, hold ropes across the entrance of the theme park, and once the park opens, they'll lower the rope, or they may require guests to stand behind the rope and walk until you get into the park. And so that's why it's called rope drop, because it used to be they dropped it and people ran. It's a little bit different right now, but the name rope drop has stuck. Waiting in line, if you have Genie Plus, not all the attractions offer it. So even with that option to beat the crowds, you can still only hold one at a time, so you won't be able to use it for every attraction. So getting to the park before it opens will let you experience the attractions that don't offer Genie Plus, or the ones that sell out quickly, in a timely fashion. By doing a lot of this in the morning, it also leaves room for a midday break. You can enjoy less popular attractions, live entertainment, and large capacity attractions in the middle of the day when lines and heat are at their worst. Another good tactic is to head back to your resort midday to enjoy a swim and catch a nap to make sure that you sleep. The sleep that you missed in the morning, you can catch up on, and then come back to the parks later in the day after the sun has set and the heat has dissipated a little bit. A lot of people think about character meals, and when they think character meals, they think breakfasts. if you're planning on doing a character meal or a sit down, I try to make the last reservation of the morning. Spend 2 hours getting ahead of the crowds and regroup and enjoy a late breakfast or an early lunch. Quick service locations at your resort will be busy in the morning, and they may not be open until after the buses have already started running. So I always recommend ordering groceries, and I did a whole video on ordering groceries, to grab a quick breakfast in the morning. So my typical day at Disney is, we get up, we don't usually shower because we shower at night when we get back after we've been sweating all day. But we get up, we get dressed, and we have something quick in the room, a power bar, an oatmeal that we make with the coffee maker, cereal and milk, those kind of things, is what we typically do. And then we get to the bus just in time for that first bus to pick up. We're on the first bus, or we walk or Skyliner or whatever hotel we're staying at. If you have a question about the best resort for your family, I do have a guide on choosing the best resort. Transportation is a big proponent of that. You can get that guide by clicking below. But depending on what resort you're at, then you're on that first bus of the day. Speaking of the buses, they start running 2 hours before the park opens. If you're staying at a Disney resort, you can check your My Disney experience, go to the resort section, and then there's a little icon that says check bus times. So you can do that to see when the first bus will be there, but it's typically 2 hours before the park opens. And you are on the bus, and then you get off the bus, and you have to remember that when you get to any of the parks, it's not just walking into the park. You're going to have to go through security. You're going to have to go through ticketing. So there are things that take time. So getting there at least an hour before you're able to enter the park is really a good strategy. And then once you are in the park, if you have a travel advisor, they should help you decide what that first ride of the day, which one would be the most meaningful for you to do in terms of saving time, right? Your travel advisor would be able to put that, your Showcase the World travel advisor would definitely put that into your touring plan. But if you're using another travel advisor, they should be able to help with that as well. One question that you might be thinking is, how early is early? I mean, it really depends on what time of the year you're there. But arriving 30 to 45 minutes ahead of park opening might seem a bit extreme till you remember that there's all those things that you have to do. So transportation to get there, security checkpoint, admission turnstiles, all of those things. So if you're going to get into the effort of going to the theme parks early, you definitely want to have a plan for the first attractions you want to hit as soon as the park opens. They will vary by family. Not all attractions are open for early entry, so it's important to know that too. Which brings me to early entry. What is early entry? Early entry is when Disney Resort guests are able to enter the park 30 minutes before regular guests. So that typically means you can get 2 rides in before off-site guests are able to come on into the park. So it's important to know that not all attractions are open for early entry. Magic Kingdom, Thunder Mountain is not open for early entry. So if you're not staying in a Disney resort, that's a good one for you to head over to first, because resort guests weren't able to get on that. Same thing with Kilimanjaro Safaris and Animal Kingdom. Those are 2 big ones that usually people are going to head towards, but they can't because they're not open yet. I do still like to get in line for Kilimanjaro Safari and Animal Kingdom, so you're on one of the first safaris that go out during the day. So that means you are spending that 30 minutes of early entry waiting in line for it to open, but that's 30 minutes that you're not losing on other attractions if you wait until later in the day. So Magic Kingdom, good ones to rope drop are Peter Pan, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, or you might want to think about something that doesn't have most attractions in Magic Kingdom do have Genie Plus, so it's not as big of a deal which one you choose, because then you can use Genie Plus to do whichever ones you don't get to. Epcot, if you're not using Genie Plus, you're definitely going to want to decide here. It would definitely be Remy or Frozen Ever After, the one that you're going to want to rope drop there. And in Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance is pretty popular. Slinky Dog Dash does get really long. They're Genie Plus does run out, but that line does get really filled in the morning. So Rise of the Resistance, Millennium Falcon, or Mickey's Runaway Railway are good ones to do there. Again, of course, it varies by family, like I said. So if you want personalized recommendations, a Showcase the World travel advisor would love to create a touring plan for you. And you can find us at Showcase the World. The ending of the video is the website, and you can schedule a call with us there. You can hit the bell for more Disney and family travel tips and tricks from an expert. And don't forget to take a break from the busy.